You know those times when you wish that you had someone else making the decisions for you? Let's say, for example, you've dived out for lunch and you want to start eating healthy. So you stood there in front of the fridge, you have that weird internal conflict of what do I have, what don't I have? And in the end, you choose the same thing because that's what you're used to. So you go away and you're a little bit disappointed in the fact that you've gone in with some intentions and you've come out with the same thing. So you decide, you have a little look online and you find some sort of diet plan or you find some sort of ideology based diet and you think that's right up my street, that's the one for me. So basically what's happened there is you've outsourced the decision making, and the reason why it's so easy is because the ideology is based a set of values around your nutrition, so it makes the decision making a lot easier. So it basically means that if you follow this, we do things like that. Now the problem with this is this ideology is something that assumes that we all work in the same kind of way, in the same kind of manner. It doesn't really have you at the heart of it. And also with the ideology is, and if you outsource your value system to something else or someone else, then what if they start doing something that you might not agree with? What if they start making decisions and start taking actions that you aren't happy with? Then what? What do? Do you leave it? But then you're going to be back to the same position that you were with not that long ago. So the real solution to the problem is to create your own deep core value system, one that is right for you. So kind of like your North Star, really, this guiding set of principles that's going to guide you towards a goal. Something that when you come up with daily choices that you have to make, should I do this or should I do that? And this deep internal conflict, that state of anxiety, that if you have a good set of values, it's going to help you navigate this. It's going to help you navigate to a collection of choices that's going to help you get through the day and make those decisions a lot easier. So this week we're going to look at creating a deep core life value system. You see, values are kind of everywhere really, a little bit like when we spoke about discipline last week or a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, I'll link that in the description below, but values are kind of everywhere. I mean, they kind of get passed down to us from sort of like parents. We pick them up from friends. We pick them up from people that we admire, people that we look at, look up to. And these all contribute to sort of creating sort of like a value system, a guiding light, you see. And a set of clear values will really help us guide ourselves through life. So for me personally, an example is I really hold my health and feeling good as a really high priority. And I know what that feeling good feels like for me. Where that kind of came from was when I was younger, I used to do track and field and we used to train pretty much 11 months a year really. But every year we took between like 4 and 6 weeks off. You know, when you're young and you get 4 or 6 weeks off training, completely off training, you can eat what you want, you can do what you want, you can drink as much as you want and basically just sort of like really let your hair down, then you kind of do. And usually at the end of those 4 to 6 weeks, I would genuinely feel like awful. I'd feel so bad. I guess I knew what feeling good really felt like. And I guess as I got older and I stopped training, I stopped being an athlete, I guess, and then I just trained like everyone else, I really did sort of like heavily prioritize feeling good because I knew what feeling crap felt like. So I really wanted to feel healthy, and I know what that feels like for me. So if I'm not feeling healthy, I'm not feeling good, then, you know, that's sort of, it's not good for me physically, it's certainly not good for me mentally. My productivity goes down, I'm just generally in a much lower mood, and it just really isn't good for me as a whole person. So feeling good and feeling healthy is such a priority, and I know now what to do. It's been a lot of trial and error, but feeling good and feeling healthy, they are such high values for me. What that means is that really guides my decisions throughout the day. What do I mean by this? Well, if I want to be thinking clearly and I want to be able to do some work and show up and do stuff like this well, I've got to make sure that mentally I'm okay to do that. So what does that mean? Well, I've got to do some regular exercise. So that means that running for me is quite a good release. So I feel quite good when I do that. I feel quite creative. I think about how I'm going to put this into a narrative. So I do some running. Jiu-jitsu for me is again another release. It really lets me be competitive. And then I do some weights as well, and that makes me feel quite strong and stuff. And then what I eat also is heavily guided by this desire to sort of feel good and prioritizing my health. So what that means is I will choose to eat food that basically complements my mood. So for example, like I'll know some foods like, yeah, all right, yeah, they're going to taste great at the time, but ultimately in the long run they aren't really going to be contributing that much to me. So I'll kind of choose when I'm going to have them. So if I'm going to sort of go like, you know what, I'm not going to do anything at all this time period, I'll probably be a bit more relaxed. But if I know that I'm going to go for a run, if I know that I'm going to do something like this, I want to be thinking quite clearly, then that has an impact on what I eat and how much I drink and the coffee that I have leading up to it. So I want to prioritize that, and that comes out in the decisions that I make. And setting these values doesn't really just stop at health. Again, much like the discipline and the resilience, like once we learn these skills and we adopt these things, then they're very transferable across a lot of areas in our life, from health to work to relationships with our friends and our family and things like that. But if your value system is correct, you're going to make some pretty good choices. So this is what I mean by creating like a really solid value system that's going to help guide your choices and guide your decisions. So before we even set our values, what we need to do is really establish two key areas and where we're going and where we are. Whenever we plot a direction, they're the two vital bits of information that we need. So what do we need? So what do we mean by this? Well, we need to establish where we are right now. We need to establish where we are physically. We need to establish where we are behaviorally, mentally, and emotionally. Now, I'm going to deep dive into this into the future. In fact, there's a chance that I might have done this by the time you've watched this video. So if you just check the description, we'll go into much more detail about this. But the same question again goes to where you want to be physically, behaviorally, mentally, and emotionally. So it's really important that you understand this. And what I'm talking about here aren't physical attributes, as in sort of like a percentage of body fat or anything like that. I don't mean that. What I mean is a certain level of characteristics that come with this person. Let's think about where we are right now. Where you are right now. What series of behaviors? What keeps on coming up that basically stops you from moving forward? So maybe fear is holding you back and you are afraid of going to a group session, or maybe you're afraid of learning a new skill, or maybe you're afraid of going to a class or taking up a sport, or asking for a promotion, or whatever that is. Maybe there's a certain level of fear. So a value for you in the future you could be one of courage. So you could have the courage to, I'm going to go to that class. I'm going to go and ask for that promotion. So that could be a value to live by. I'm going to live courageously. And you're going to come up with these. Now, don't be afraid to review these, and don't be afraid to sort of go back over them and change them, because things change, and that's okay. Anyway, so here's what you're going to do. So you're going to take this other person, this B. So we've got A, where you are now, B, where you want to be. So we're going to take B, okay? What I want you to do is list as many values as you can possibly think of that B, this person, would do. So what kind of values do you think that this person would have? And to come up with this can be quite difficult. So don't be afraid to, steal, basically. Sort of like read some books, watch some YouTube videos, ask your friends, I guess, like ask your family, what kind of values do they live by, and really draw off them. Make a big long list, really kind of go for it, really think about it. Step 2, once you have that list, now this is quite difficult list, but once you have that list, drill down to 10, okay? Now, this is quite a challenge. It is quite a challenge because you've kind of got this massive list. You might have like 30 odd on it, but get it down to 10. Because what will happen is you might find ones that are overlapping a bit. So I said maybe you value adventure and travel and seeing the world. That might be really important to you. But what's holding you back is fear. So you might value courage. So you're going to cross adventure and travel off your list and just go for courage, because courage can really cross a lot of barriers. So once you've kind of got your big list, I want you to get it down to 10. Now, after you've got your 10, this becomes really hard. You're going to drill that down into 5. Okay. When I say you've got to have 5, it doesn't actually have to be 5, but I guess what I'm saying is it really makes you think deeply about yourself and your value system and what's important to you. Now, once you've got your core values, I want you to live by them for a month, just a month. So you're going to have your core values, you're going to see where they're going to go in between your life, and you're going to live by these core values. I want you to live consciously by them. And at the end of that month, I want you to review them and see and ask yourself, how did it work for you? And then after time, you're really going to drill down into something that's quite uniquely yours. And these are going to be your guiding principles, your guiding light, and then you've got it and it's yours. And what that's going to really help you do is when you get posed like different questions or you've got to make different choices, then you can turn to your value system, and that's going to really help you fall on one side or the other. That deep internal conflict that you might spend days, weeks agonizing over, you're gonna be able to get to some sort of resolution a lot quicker and help you make much more clear choices. So get pen and paper out, follow the steps, and let me know what your value system is, and let me know what that looks like. Just be really mindful moving forward of your behaviors and what it is that you frequently are doing and what's driving those behaviors. And then basically see if you can turn that into some sort of value system. It's just about being conscious about what it is that you're doing, really. And it's over to you now. So what I need you to do is get get yourself a pen and paper, establish where you are now, establish where you want to be, get your big value system, get it down to 10, get it down to 5, really think about it. And then as you kind of have your 5 and you're going around your day, just be really mindful of your behaviors and what keeps on coming up, what things keep on coming up and keep you, these barriers that keep on stopping you or whatever it is that's going to get in your way. And then think deeply about what that is, and if you can create that into sort of a value system and then add that into your 5, either add it on, take something out or whatever, just play around with it. Don't be afraid to mess around with it. And just make sure it's authentically you and it's coming from your space, from your mind and yourself, and it benefits you, and so you can move forward with your life. Listen, that's it for today. Good luck with that. Let me know how you get on in the comments. I'll make sure that I'll comment back. I'll see you next week with another video. I'm not sure what it is that we're doing just yet. I have got it written down, but I'm not entirely sure, so I don't want to say. But anyway, yeah, I'll catch you next week. Laters.